building coherence as an intuitive, as an old soul. Call yourself whatever you want to call, light worker, sigma, lone wolf, whatever. But if you're here on this spiritual path of awakening, then you know what I'm talking about. Building coherence. Why this is completely different for an old soul compared to a young soul. Now, I don't want to, create some sort of separation or duality, because we all go through our, ups and downs and realizations in different times of our life. But let's say, as an old soul, we are here to do a different kind of work. Maybe a young soul, he comes here and asks himself, okay, so I was born here, and this is kind of like the matrix, the construct of conditioning and programming and expectations. What are the rules of the game? And let me play this game. Let me go along. And this is basically the majority of the population, over 90%, maybe more. They go along by the rules that has been given to them, and they don't really question that much. Maybe they sometimes feel like if this is really right or wrong, they can have a conversation about it, but it doesn't really go much further than that. And the old soul, of course, obviously, he can somewhat feel alienated in this world. Like you could say, like the neurodivergent person. If you don't go along, especially here in a country like the Netherlands, let me come back to that, you fall off the wagon. You fall off the wagon because you don't go along with the matrix, with the construct of our programming and all of it, and the conditions and the expectations we are dealing with in this world. You fall off the wagon and you don't go to the next station. And the next station is, of course, of building up our external world, our identity, our ego, and all of that goes along with it, our status, reputation management, of how we want to be perceived by others. The old soul is here for something different. He asks himself different questions, like, who am I really? Who am I? First of all, where did I came from and why I am here? Very, very difficult questions to answer. Now, of course, you can go along and you can say, I'm in star seeds. I came from the stars. I came from Pleiades. I came from Arcturians, and I'm here to ascend. Well, fantastic. There you go along. But at one point, we open up this portal, this vortex within ourselves, because we want to connect with our essence, our unity consciousness that exists within us, that is buried very deep down on our mental constructs, the matrix, our own conditioning, how we have been growing up, the patterns and the conditions, the trauma that has been passed over from previous generations. We're going through generational curses and trauma and the patterns and the beliefs that has been very deeply rooted. And then we come to realize, wait a minute, maybe I'm here to transcend it all, to face it all. Because maybe you have been doing the exact same thing of what everybody else has been doing. Trying to get along, trying to fit in, to squeeze yourself into this box. But you're not here to squeeze in the box. You're not here to fit in, because you're here to lead yourself into a new direction, and then lead by example of how the rest can also start to see things from a different perspective. What they want to do with it is up to them, of course. But eventually we come to a point, so we still have to operate within the matrix, although we don't really want to operate within that. We want to work outside of it. We don't want to be a wage slave, living paycheck to paycheck, and live in limitations and have very limited access and options that we can have, because that doesn't resonate with our soul. Our soul wants to be if it feels like today I'm supposed to be here, but tomorrow I'm supposed to be there, we must have that freedom of choice to go what our spirit and soul tells us. That's what we need to do. But we have, of course, the construct of the minds, and we are most of the times in our minds, and then we feel limited in our movements, because with one leg we are still somewhat in the matrix, and then another leg we are trying to connect with our soul's calling, our soul's purpose, and trying to find answers on who we are and why we are here. That creates lots of conflict, and that's really the whole purpose of today's video. Like, we want to create something that is more in line with our essence. We want to create a spiritual, holistic health kind of business. We want to serve humanity, we want to help humanity. And when we are trying to do things that are from the minds, you know, we go through a course, marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, whatever. We go through that and we see how other people are having success, and we think, okay, so if they have success and they tell, okay, so success leaves clues, I'm going to follow these steps of that other people are doing, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why? Because it's from the mind, and it doesn't really resonate with us. It doesn't really resonate, and there is no coherence. There's no coherence between the mind, the body, the soul, the spirit. Because we can force ourselves into disciplined action, we can create to-do lists and everything that we must do, and we must go through that step by step by step. But especially when you are a neurodivergent person, ADHD, ADD, whatever, and you're on this path, you realize ADHD is here really like having a hunter-gatherer's nervous system, and is here to connect with our ancestors for our own personal development, but also perhaps heal certain type of patterns that has been passed over. You could say ADHD is ancestral development and healing disassociation. Disassociation from that matrix kind of world that somewhat, you know, is like covered around our perception of reality, of how we are supposed to be living our life, and what we should be doing, what we should be having, and our limitations, and all of it, you know. And we feel highly disassociated from that, which is normal if you are like an intuitive empath, old soul. And we want to move out of that and have our freedom and independence to listen closely to our soul's calling, to listen to the whispers of the divine. And we, instead of doing lots of disciplined action, have more like inspired action. What inspires us here in this very moment? Now, of course, I must admit that when I create videos, I can feel like I'm somewhat like, I let it flow. I go with the flow. I create these videos, I upload, and hopefully YouTube is doing something with it. But then I also realize, okay, so then I go back into the mind. I shift into working with the spirit, but then I shift back into the mind, and I must think, okay, so I must be doing this, I must be doing that, I must create my to-do list, and I must increase my productivity. And we go through that each and every day. And then what happens is we experience somewhat like an internal conflict within ourselves, and that creates a misalignment, and then there is no coherence. Like, we only can get, of course, in our outside world, that will be a resonance with who we are. What we get is not what we want, it's what we need based on who we are in our essence and what we send out in our vibration. I mean, the radio station, on our radio, we can only receive the radio station that is in alignment with the frequency of that radio station. So we must tune into the frequency. So what kind of vibrational frequency do we hold? that of course is coming by our thoughts and our emotions, energy, emotion, and that of course is creating the vibrational frequency of our energy field. And then it is really realizing, so how can we optimize our energy? So instead of time management and how to be more productive, which is lots from the mind, how can we manage, optimize our energy and move into energy management, move back into mind, body, spirit, and give ourselves time to relax, because once we can reflect, we can step into the helicopter view, the overview, and that's how we can grow, and that's how we can back within our internal navigation system of, do I want what I feel, and do I feel what I want? But anyway, I'm going to leave it with this, because it is bloody freezing right now. It is sunny, but it is cold, it is freezing, the wind is cold, and I'm yet here, another day coming at you from the Germanic lowlands, aka the Netherlands lowlands. Is of course where we can reconnect with our ancestral lands and with the energy of our ancestors to rebuild and redefine ourselves. And that's kind of really what I'm doing here at Germanic Wellness. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, simply drop a comment below, and I look forward to see you on one of my next videos. And of course, let's start a conversation. What do you normally do in order to optimize your coherence and get into a state of resonance? How can we somewhat don't separate the minds from the soul or the spirit, but create like an harmony between that, between the heart, the soul, the spirit, and the minds, and let our rational mind works in our favor as a tool that wants to get our soul's mission out there as well. That's a question I have for you. Let's start off this conversation, and I look forward to your experiences. Alright, see you on my next videos. Take care for now.